328. Okay, there we go.
328.
Yeah.
It's funny. We're in those numbers now where I distinctly remember them because Avengers 328 was when the boom was going on in 92.
Oh, yeah.
And 328 was the first appearance of Rage. True story.
Wow.
Wow.
The
It's an
number
impressive
system.
level of knowledge, though.
I know,
It
eh?
is. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
here
it's-
staring off in the distance, can't remember what the fuck I'm gonna say next, and here, 328, first appearance of this.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it's weird. We're at those numbers now. Like when we get to 330, it'll be the death of Egghead in the Avengers. It's just, yep, that's the way it works.
Hey, Paul. Paul, that's a fucking
Yes.
nerd.
Nerd.
Yeah. I was having a similar conversation. I was out. I had an overnight stay at one of these hotel spa things. It was organised by work. There was a group of us, about 8, I think, something like that. And the conversation shifted to movies and stuff. And one of the women there, there's slightly more women than there were men. Not that that makes any difference, but one of them said something about Star Wars, which made my ears prick up. And she said, "What was the name of that last one that came out?" And she couldn't remember it. I said, "Is it Rise of Skywalker?" She said, "No, it wasn't that one. It was one of the other ones. Is it like Attack of the Clones or something?" I said, "Well, that wasn't the last one that came out." I said, "Your options are New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith,
And then you're by yourself
Last
for the
Jedi."
night.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone's looking at me like,
She's the stupid one, not me.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What? Don't you know this? Yeah.
I've done that before. I have done that before where I'll just rattle shit off and people look at you like you've just taken your trousers down. It's weird.
Yeah. Yes, forgot I was in a group of adults for a moment.
That's good.
To me, it's funny when I saw it's comic based. Actually, it's it's a bit of comic news that I saw, and it's one of those things. I've mentioned before. A lot of times in comics, there are some writers who have never really read comics, and they do the Scooby-Doo approach. And John, I believe you've heard me say that, where they don't really know how to write the superheroes because they've never really read the comics. So they go to lore that they recognize, and of course, growing up, everybody watched Scooby-Doo, Scooby and the Gang.
Yeah.
So you've got the Scooby Gang, and you've got Scooby. You've got the gang, usually 3 or 4 folks, and there's another prop that is in the lore a lot. Sometimes they're going through a swamp or something, and Shaggy's usually holding it. Do you remember what it is? Because you may not see what I saw if you don't remember what Shaggy was usually holding when they're going through a dark swamp. A lantern.
A lantern. A lantern.
A lantern. Do you remember that, though? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
scene?
yeah.
Any scenes walking through holding the lantern. Okay. So, I'll name her. I don't care. Gail Simone is now doing the X-Men.
Oh, my God. We're worried about her hearing us.
I dropped the title because I did 11 issues, and I was like, okay, you know what? She's writing what she's writing. It doesn't even resemble the X-Men. They're dressed down. They're not even in costume most of the time. And I was sitting there saying to myself, she's writing it. So this is a solicitation for X-Men 13. And this is the front cover. And when I saw this, I was like, and I'm going to hold this up so you guys can see it. So there it is.
Oh, yeah.
There's Scooby, the gang, and the fucking lantern. And I was like, okay. She did the thing, as they call it. There's Scooby in the background, the horse, the 4 up front, and the fucking lantern. And I was like, all right. And that's basically what it is, because the X-Men story she's writing, when they did Jonathan Hickman's run, they introduced about 70 different characters. None of them are being used. And she introduced 4 different characters. One is as dark and emo character as you can get. Another one stutters. Another one's a blonde Southern lady that they just whip the shit out of, because that's where we're at. And that's who by the way, this material is going to be the source of the new X-Men movies. You can fucking count on it. And Anyway, it just cracked me up when I was flipping through. It was in the new issue of Wolverine. By the way, Wolverine, Saladin Ahmad, very, very good writer. But I came across that ad and I was like, they fucking did the thing. Scooby-Doo and the gang. So it cracked me up. Anyway.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
You big dummy. Oh, great Odin's raven.
Say hello to my little friend.
I stepped in a ditch last night, man. I almost closed my balls off, man.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good. What's the problem?
Yeah, David.
Giggity, 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 giggity.
Oh, we know what you fear well without.
I'm the doctor.
This aggression will not stand, man.
Engage.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Pulp Culture Cafe. This is season 13, episode 328. So as you can hear, we've already started without you. We got the cold opener and a cold opener. We got two cold openers and then Scott ripping a new one on the X-Men. And then so the gang's here. Our Scooby gang is here. Myself, Scott, and Paul. And,
hello.
And so we're gonna get going here. So let's get this boat on the road and go with whatever. First, we'll start like I want to do. Try and do everything. So last time, gentlemen, what have you watched lately?
So I'm gonna go first.
Okay, well I'll go first since I brought it up. I'll mention a few shows I've been watching. One I think I should start watching. I hear every time I see something about it, I hear it's I'm gonna start with that one. The Expanse. The Expanse. Have you guys ever heard of that one?
Yes,
I
sci-fi.
watched the first episode, yes.
Yeah.
And it caught me interest, but I watched it probably about a week before it all just disappeared off Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought I was interested in it, but I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get any further. It looked good, though. My sort of thing.
It's like it was on for 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah.
So,
it's a Canadian show, I think.
Well, probably produced here.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, needed something different to watch because I'm still waiting for fucking Strange New Worlds to come out. I don't remember when the hell that's coming. It's like...
Is there no date on that?
No. I looked. There's no fucking date. It's in the can. But...
Yeah.
And they've started shooting season 4.
Really?
Yeah.
They're basking in that Sector 31 glow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of that, sidetrack, like we always do on this show. You see the guy that played the tank in Sector 31?
Yeah.
He's blaming the fans because it's bad.
Okay.
Blaming the fans?
Yeah, well, his thing, he says, they don't want anything different, blah, blah, blah. No, man, it was just bad.
It's just shit.
Yeah. Take responsibility. You're in a bad movie. Stop doing...
I'm quite happy to have something different. I think a lot of us were quite excited about it, about the prospect of it.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Star Trek Black Ops. Yeah, please. That sounds cool as fuck. Mm-hmm. But you just did a shit job. Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like, you played a walking tank, and that's all you did was smash through walls. That's fucking great. You didn't even need to put a human there. You could put a robot.
Yeah. No character depth developments.
No.
Nothing interesting about it.
Nothing. So we talked about that. I found that interesting. He's, it's your fault.
Whenever I hear stuff like that, I automatically go to that Simpsons meme. No, it's the children who are wrong. I automatically go to that meme. I have Principal Skinner saying, no, it's the children that are wrong.
Yeah. So, I want to check that out. I'm still watching Dad's Army, Paul. I turn that on now a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Still enjoying it?
Oh
I was
yeah.
watching something else the other day that I was going to mention. What was it?
Um,
I was going to recommend something else to you. I can't for the life of me remember what it
yeah.
was. I was listening to your last show and you were talking about Norman Wisdom, I think it was.
Yes, I watched. I
Uh,
brought that to me. Yeah.
yeah, and I was thinking about that. I thought, oh, you know what? I think you'd like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
that's it. Yeah, that's it. We were watching something on TV, and it was a quiz. And one of the questions, one of the answers was a sitcom called "Are You Being Served?"
oh yeah, I
I
know
don't know
that
if you've
one.
heard of that one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know of that one.
yeah. Yes, one of the ongoing gags is one of the older women that works in the department
Yeah,
store
yeah.
as a cat. They're always talking about Mrs. Slocum's pussy.
Pussy. I know about that.
Can't
The
do
last.
that anymore.
If you see
Yeah,
Mrs. Slocum, you'll be thinking,
yeah, yeah. The one of the ones I watched, there, the one guy was in a log, fake log, through because they're fighting
"Oh
each
yeah,
other,
yeah,
and he's going around
yeah,
gurgle,
yeah."
gurgle, gurgle. It's in the water. All the fucking time. Uh, um,
Oh, that's Harvey. So funny.
yeah. Hype. I started watching this show. It's available on Disney, and it has the actress from Sunny in Philadelphia, Rob
Danny
McElhaney's.
DeVito?
Okay.
Huh?
Danny DeVito?
Yeah, Danny DeVito. She plays in this. It's based on a French show, and it's called High Potential. And she has a really high IQ.
Yeah.
And she was playing a cleaning. She in the pilot episode, she's just cleaning in the cop's office, and knocks over some files, and she catches all this stuff that they kind of did wrong, and she goes over and she scratches out. The wife was put down as suspect, and she put down victim. And then they get how'd you feel, and she comes to explain that she just has this mind. Her IQ is high, and it's called high potential, and it causes her. She has like photographic memory and all this other stuff, and her mind's constantly working. And she says she sees a problem, she has to solve it. So she helps them solve the crime. And then
That sounds a little bit like Ludwig.
yeah, that's what I thought. And then there's another show I watched called Elsbeth on CBS, which is the same. It's a modern day version of Columbo, where in Elsbeth she solves the crime is shown, and they show how she solves it. So yes, that's what I thought too. Is high potential. I thought that's Ludwig, same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like the sound of the other one. It's like Columbo because I love Columbo. I fucking love Columbo. I started watching is it Poker Face, which was supposed to be like a modern day Columbo type thing. And that was okay.
Yeah,
it was definitely channeling its inner Columbo.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely get the aesthetic of it, but it was good, but it was no Columbo.
yeah. Caitlin Olsen. Did you say that, Scott? Caitlin Olsen earlier?
No.
Okay, well that's who it is. That's Rob McElhaney's wife, and so I really enjoyed it. Oh shit, okay. I like the shows where regular cop shows just don't really interest me. These ones where they have like the odd character in it help. That's why I really like Ludwig. You got this character that's sort of out of place helping the cops. And he gets involved more because of his curiosity sucks him in. So
I know.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Ludwig.
Yeah.
I have no idea whether they're doing a second season.
Oh,
or
they
not,
are.
but,
Okay. The last thing is that they are doing it.
Yeah.
But all I know from English production is that it could be 2 years from now, right?
Well, yeah, potentially. Let's have a look. I've actually got the computer in front of me.
So, and then I finished watching Invincible.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I wasn't rushing to get it, like watch it this time, But I enjoyed the end. I want to see what happens next time. But after I got when he in the last episode when the guy that came down and was fighting him grabbed him by the back of the head and was pushing him through everything and people are exploding and everything. I actually started laughing because I thought, oh, that's just the rip off of the one that happened with his dad. I thought, wow,
kind of.
Is this what they don't have an idea what to do, so they'll do the same thing? But
that must just be like a standard Viltrumite dick move. That's just what they do.
Yeah. But
I like that character. It was Negan from The Walking Dead, wasn't it? What's he called? What's his name?
Morgan?
Okay, something Dean Morgan.
Yes.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey. Yeah. Yes, that's it. Yeah. I wanted to say Harry Dean Stanton. But I knew that it wasn't. But I knew that it was someone with three names.
Yeah.
And Harry Dean Stanton was the first one that came to mind. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That's it. Yeah.
You're Morgan. It's like, it's Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. So that's.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just
Morgan Freeman did the voice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
So how about you guys? What have you been catching up on?
You want to go first there, Paul?
Sure. Well, I can back up with Invincible. I watched the last episode of that. I think we spoke about it last time, and I think I said that I'm enjoying it, but we're on, season 4 now? 3, 4?
Yeah.
And sort of the novelty's worn off.
Yeah.
Because we know who the characters are, we know what to expect, we know what the show is all about. So kind of the magic's gone a little bit, but it's still very, very good.
Yeah.
Still very good. I'm still really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Still a couple of twists and turns that catch you out, but really enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to the next season.
I'm more interested in see what Adam Eve.
Yeah,
what she can
that's an
do,
interesting
right?
development. Yeah, I know.
That's it. That's more interesting than what's happening
with her powers.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I'm caught up on Reacher. The last episode came out. Not last episode. The latest episode came out yesterday.
It's very good. It's very good this season.
It is very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It built like when you said the first 4 episodes were kind of slow. I thought the whole time thinking this is different than the other two, and I have no idea where the season's going. And we talked about the numbers in the last show, 64 million either minutes or like it's good. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, it is good. It is really good. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the latest episode yet.
No, I still haven't got caught up yet.
Is that the one just where they're in the junkyard?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. I'm there.
yes, it is.
I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favourite lines ever in that show, where as we know that previously some hired goons have gone after Neely.
Yeah.
And Reacher in the latest episode apologises to her. And he said, I'm really sorry that those guys went after you because of me and you got involved. And she said, I was involved the moment they came after you.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's a cool line.
She's built like a brick shit. She's got a new show coming out of her own, and she is just built like a brick shit.
Yeah.
When she was going through the apartment, that office building, shooting them, and she's running, I'm thinking, holy shit, someone's been hitting the gym. That's when I see girls built like that, I'm thinking, yeah, she could fuck those guys up.
Not like Kate Olsen or whatever the fuck her name was. Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, Kate Beckinsale. Yeah.
Yeah, you call bullshit on that sort of thing with Kate Beckinsale, with but someone like Neely, whose real name I forget, I'm afraid. When she starts kicking the shit out of those big guys,
she looks like she could do it, and that's what it should be.
Absolutely, she does. Absolutely, I'm looking forward to the spin-off show because she's a great character.
Yeah,
every time she's in it, it's all like yes, more need. Thank you.
She is.
But it was a good episode.
I've really enjoyed it so far, and I'm glad that he's getting his, as the kids say, flowers. When he mentioned Batman, and we talked a bit, and I was curious your thoughts on it when he said, I do Batman for free.
Back up. I'm an old guy. What the fuck does flowers mean?
Get props. I think we call them props, but they call kids call them flowers today. They call them the flowers because I guess the ladies get given flowers and guys can get flowers too. So
okay, all right.
The flowers.
Money shot.
Yeah.
Money shot. Yeah,
That's a different thing.
the money shot. I doubt very much if Alan Richardson would say, "You know what, Alan, we're going to give you a money shot." But fuck you are. Fuck you are.
I thought it was quite interesting what you were saying last week about it gives a lot of his money away. I didn't realise that. So when he said that he'd do it for free, it's like you said previously. He actually might.
Yeah.
He actually might do it if he's not in it for the money and he just wants to be Batman. Then fucking just,
a little back end money. Do a Keanu Reeves.
No, again, you've got to take that with a grain of salt because it's because it's on the internet. But I've seen him in interviews and stuff like that, and he seems like a very humble guy.
He said it in an interview. I saw the footage, but I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things. Robin Pattinson is getting a bit impatient with the Batman script, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know what they go.
Well, he's brave. They want him for brave and bold, like I said. So that's totally different. So, okay.
Enjoying it.
Anything else there, Paul?
Yeah, I watched the season finale of Severance. Excellent show.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. It's fantastic. This season 2, there were, by my account, 2 episodes that were probably the weakest out of the whole 2 seasons. But that's because they were filling in some gaps of the story and they didn't really include a lot of the main cast. And the main cast are excellent. The story is excellent. The performances are excellent. So when they aren't on screen, so it's a disappointment. So not that the weak episodes were shit; they were necessary to progress the story and fill in some gaps. But yeah, the finale was amazing. The way that it ended, it really is one of those holy shit type finales. And I hope to God they're going to do a season 3, but I have no idea what they will do or where it will go. But an ending.
Yeah.
It's so deep, such a deep story. I really don't want to spoil it for you other listeners, but but do you know what the premise of the show is?
No, I haven't gotten into it.
It's on my watch list. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Oh, it's so good. So basically, you work for a company that implants a chip into your brain, and it separates your consciousness into like a separate individual consciousness. So that when you go into the work building, you get in a lift, you go down to the floor where you work, and you enter. It's all done electronically, or I don't know what the technology is behind it. But when you walk onto the floor, the department that you work in, it triggers the chip, and it separates your consciousness, so that you're still the same person, the same body, but your brain just flips. It's not like having a partition in your brain. You're 2 completely different people. So you go to work at night, say like 9 o'clock at night. So you get all day to yourself. You do what you need to do. You do your shopping, you wash your shorts or whatever, and then you go to work at 9 o'clock at night. And then the next thing you know, you're leaving the building at 7 o'clock in the morning. So you've worked full-time job, but your primary consciousness it has absolutely no memory of it. So essentially, it's
yeah.
So and the show's about these people because basically because it's a completely separate consciousness. They don't have any knowledge of the world. That department, that office that they work in, that's their world. They have absolutely no idea what it's like on the outside about what happens in the rest of the world or life or anything like that. And the idea is that it's so that people can work full-time jobs without stress or the pressure of having to work a full-time job. So people sign up to it and say, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to do that because I don't want to work for a living, but I want a full-time wage. Thank you very much. But the separate consciousness, they kind of develop this attitude like, why the fuck am I the one that has to just work constantly? Because as soon as they leave the office, they just switch back to the primary person. So they kind of just disappear. and they only reappear at 9 o'clock the following day when they go back to work. And it's like, that's their life. It's like, why the fuck am I the one that's spending all my life? Because they see themselves as sort of like just real people, like separate people. It's like, why am I the one that's stuck behind this desk all the time? And then there's questions about sort of, well, what do the company actually do? And it's like, there's a mystery there. And it's sort of like, well, is it like some sort of nefarious company? Yes, it is. And then they sort of like start to develop a little bit of a rebellious attitude. They start to sort of like go out and find other departments who are also sort of like, oh, we didn't even know that other people worked here. We thought it was just us. And it's like Lost. It's like that. I mean, everyone knows who Lost is. I don't need to explain Lost.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, because every episode, it just sort of like, they hit you with something, and it makes you sit back and think, fuck me, I didn't see that coming. What does that mean? And where's it going to go? And what's going to happen next? Every single episode makes you want to just, I'll watch the next one, I'll watch the next one, I'll watch the next one. Because I need to know what's going to happen. I need to know what's going to happen to him. I need to know what they're going to do about that. It's such a good show. It really, really is.
I'd have to watch
the finale,
that.
Season 2 finale is like, oh my God. Oh.
It seems a bit like Truman Show, where it's like they're in this world and they slowly realize that, okay, wait a minute, reality's not what I think it is. Let's go discover what's really going on. Would that be a fair assessment?
Kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. Yeah. But in Truman Show, then that's just all he knows, and he's just like that one guy. The premise with him like flipping the switch and switching the consciousness between these two parts of the brain to the two completely different people. In season 2, that becomes more important because their primary life starts to bleed into their secondary life. They call them innies and outies. The innies work inside the building. The outies have a life outside of the building.
Okay.
And the lives start to bleed together. And one of them is really, really clever. It is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's really, really clever where one of the characters, the innie and the outie, are having a conversation with each other via videotape. So basically, if you're in the room, you're the innie. If you're out of the room, you're the outie. So the outie records, like, he says something to the innie on a videotape, and then he walks into the room, switches to the other consciousness. So then the innie watches the videotape, replies to it, and then walks out of the building, and he switches to the other person. And they edit it together so that these two guys are having a conversation with each other. And it's really, really clever. Yeah, it's really clever. Because,
the building, the business, not knowing anything about it, it's been hypothesized the actual business is from here in Canada, from Newfoundland.
Oh.
Yes, that's exactly what not knowing any context and reading. Yeah. They said that the business, and you may know more what that means than I do, but they're saying this business is in Canada and it's based in Newfoundland. True enough.
Devious bastards.
I don't
should
know.
all be ashamed of yourself.
I don't know any context, but that is what the sleuths who have been watching the show that says, holy fuck, that's Newfoundland here in Canada. So I don't know I don't know what that would mean to you, but that's what they're saying.
I don't think that's relevant to the story. I think they've just found where it's being filmed.
Okay,
I think that's just the location.
That
doesn't sound like it's relevant to the story. But it's such a good story. Every character in it is so good.
It's so good. Taking split personalities to a different level.
Yeah. But it's really weird because this as it develops, like especially season 2, where this guy gets to speak to himself, like the other person, because they're two completely different people. There's no memory. They have no memories of each other at all. They've got absolutely no idea what goes on the inside or the outside, vice versa. It's really interesting. They start to have a conversation, and you sort of like, and they kind of start arguing. And it's like, well, it's really weird because they're two completely separate individuals. You know, it's kind of very similar basic character traits, but completely different life experience and different like friend circles, and it's really interesting. It starts to get quite deep. It's very good.
Stuff like that is coming, like the implant thing. You know, it's they're already doing it where they're implanting it in people's heads. And if you sold them, look, you know what, we're going to put this in your head, but you're not going to remember work. You're just going to remember the enjoyable part of your life. There are people who will sign on to say, what, you know what, I'm just going to remember the good, happy stuff when I'm not working. Plug her in. And that's how we're going to sell.
Porn and masturbation is all I remember.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You know, that's going to be the selling point. If you tell people you're not going to remember this and you're only going to remember this, that's how they're going to get people. And it's kind of happening now.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anymore because if you've not seen it at all, I don't want to spoil it because it's like Lost. A lot of the twists and the turns are what makes it special. So I don't want to give too much away. But definitely watch it.
Here's something else that I think you've watched. You've watched all the morning show, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've watched seasons 2 and 3 now. Overall, very well acted, very well written. It was in a far left bubble. You know, I mean, I was saying to Susan that like every musical acting icon from that left bubble was either mentioned or name dropped in the series, but it was well acted, well written. I found there's some hypocrisy. I found season 3 was missing Stephen Carell. I loved his part in the first two seasons. He's an incredible dramatic actor. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't been doing more. He's in the Robin Williams mode where he can be funny as hell, and most comedians are where he can be funny as hell, but when he does serious acting, it's very, very good. I don't know. Maybe you disagree on this. I found there was a bit of hypocrisy in the show. The first 2 seasons were based on his actions, and it was that he was set up to mentor this girl, would be a fair assessment, and he ended up having sexual relations with her. And in the second season, Juliana Margola's character was set up to mentor, and it was specifically said where the character said, "Can you mentor her?" And she ends up fucking her. And I was like, wait a minute. It's basically you have this elder who was asked to mentor someone new in the industry, which was she had just come up. She was name escapes me all of a sudden. I want to say Riley, but that's not it. Reese
Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
Bradley. Maybe Bradley.
Bradley. That sounds right.
She was asked to mentor Bradley, and she ended up screwing her. And the only difference is they decided to build a relationship where Steve Carell's just had sex with her and really didn't want anything more. And the way they made they made that character to, you know, where he came to his ultimate end, and he was beaten down the entire time. Where these two other characters had the same type of relationship. The only difference being is they went into a relationship they didn't even notice the hypocrisy of those two relationships running kind of parallel lines. And that's the only thing I found about it where, you know, but I did like the fact they showed nuances between what had gone on, you know, with Harvey Weinstein and some of the other folks at the time where it was like, okay, wait a minute, you've got this, but you've also got this. And I did like the fact that they took a deep look at that. And Steve Carell was brilliant in it. And actually, I had mentioned in season 1, Martin Short was fantastic in his small part he had, even in the second one. Without saying too much, you know, his last appearance. Now, this is something we can all relate to. Before you got married, Paul, did you ever have a girlfriend or a significant other that was just fucking drama all the time? I have, and I'm sure
I think we all have at some point.
Jennifer Aniston's character physically grates on me after a while. She is nothing but fucking drama, and when she showed up to Chip's house to ask him to come back, Susan and I were both looking at the TV saying, close the fucking door in her face. She's nothing but drama. She's one of those characters that she's exhausting. She really is. I said actually, when we watched the second season, I said to Susan, I need a break. This character is literally exhausting. It's always drama. Anything with her, it's either and I realized about Jennifer Aniston because I haven't seen her since Friends, and I see her more in the tabloids more than anything. She's not a very good actress. The only thing she's really good at acting is playing a mean person or constantly being drama. And that's what I found. And as Susan actually made a point, she said, have you noticed they always put really close-ups on her face? Because she's very attractive, and she's 54, 55, and she's phenomenal shape, and she's very beautiful. But the character is exhausting. Third season had John Hamm in it, which I thought he did a great job as I was calling him John Musk because it was based on Elon Musk, that character in the second season. A really evil, nefarious version. It's debatable what you believe, but he was an evil version of Elon Musk. And there have been people, and in the tech industry in general, this has gone on where that's the one thing that tech has had over all previous bad guys is the fact that they could get into your email, they could get into your phone, and stuff that has gone on the show, I'm sure has happened in real life. But John Hamm did a wonderful job. He's an amazing actor. And when I was watching that third season, I was thinking, that's the John Hamm Mad Men that was such a good actor over the years because he's done some goofy stuff since then. But to see him in a serious acting role, you're thinking, okay, wait a minute, there's that guy that won all those awards for Mad Men. But yeah, I found season 3 missed Stephen Carell. Overall, I loved it. I'm really enjoying it. It's been renewed for seasons 4 and 5.
Yeah. I won't lie. Started watching it with wife, and I thought it was going to be. There's no respectful way to say it. More sort of like for women, rather than for men. Because of the subject matter of season 1. Yeah. But I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Very good.
Yeah, very, very. Very interesting story to follow. Like Steve Carell was brilliant. I think that might be the first dramatic role I've seen him in. So I went into
Box Sketch was very good.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Oh,
no.
It's very good.
So, but it's it's like it was really weird because you see him in something like Anchorman, and then you see him doing something like The Morning Show. There's complete opposite ends of any measurement. It was really, really good. Pretty much everyone in it's good. Just good cast of characters. I really like Chip, but he's in an abusive relationship with Jennifer Aniston. My God. He puts up with so much shit.
By the end of the third season, they both had cucks. She had Chip, and Bradley had the CEO, the guy, where they just were constantly being shit on, and they just couldn't take enough. So,
Yeah. Oh, that CEO guy. Oh man, I kind of like his character, but it's like, come on, man, you're in charge. You're the boss of this company. Get a grip. You're letting everyone bully you around.
Kudos to the actor, whose name escapes me at this point in time. He is a fantastic actor, and this show. Go ahead.
Billy Crudup. Crudup, I think his name is.
Fantastic actor.
Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen.
Yes, he was, but I haven't seen him in much. But this series, I was thinking, God, why isn't this guy working more? Just a brilliant actor.
Yeah, he's good. He's good in everything I've seen him in. You don't see him in a huge amount, but he's always good.
Stephen Fry, I love seeing Stephen Fry in here. I haven't seen him do much work, but he was great in this.
Yeah. I don't think he'd been on telly for a while. I don't think he'd been very well. I think this was the first thing he'd done for a while. Yeah. But every time I see Stephen Fry, I always feel very proud to be British. He's about as British as it comes, just sort of like
brilliant guy,
the accent and his, vocabulary and attitude, and a little bit snooty, sense of humour. It's I like him a lot. But really good show. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, I loved it. There's a clip of him on what's that British talk show host whose name escapes me?
Piers Morgan?
No, not Piers. He's very flamboyant. Stephen.
With Graham Norton.
Graham Norton, exactly. Yeah. He was on Graham Norton. He was on Graham Norton with Nicole Kidman one night, and he had written a book about the Greek gods.
Yes, he did.
You know what
yeah.
I'm talking about? And
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman was just looking at him in awe. It's like, keep going. You're so smart. Just to hear the guy talk. He's just such a brilliant, well-read, educated guy. He's one of those, one of those actors you could just listen to talk for hours. And he's brilliant, high IQ. You can tell he's like easily an IQ of like 150, 160. But yeah.
He used to host a game show called QI, which
Yeah,
sounds quite interesting. I don't know whether you've ever seen it or not, but there's quite a lot of quite obscure facts, which is why it's called quite interesting, QI. And I'm never sure whether all this information that he keeps coming out with about everything and anything, I'm never sure whether he has it written down in front of him, producers are feeding it to him via an earpiece, or he just knows it. I like to think that he just knows it.
He just knows it.
He's such an intelligent man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be very impressive. I like
brilliant guy.
Yeah. The only other thing that I really want to talk about is Daredevil, obviously. Has anybody started watching that yet?
Oh, yeah. I watch it every Tuesday. I watch it.
Wow. Scott hasn't started watching it.
I haven't, but I mean, I know I've heard a few spoilers about Foggy and so forth. So, like, just don't go major. But I mean, if there's things you want to talk about, go ahead and talk about it. I'll watch it.
I don't think it's a spoiler so much. I'm just going to plug in this laptop before it goes off. I don't think it's a spoiler as such, but the latest episode has the Punisher in it.
Yeah. I just wonder if he's going to be in more.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so. You've got the cops running around with Punisher tattoos and Punisher symbols on things. So I'm fairly confident Frank's going to make another appearance at some point. But the scene that they had between them, Frank and Matt, so intense. It was so good.
Yeah.
It's like I was talking to somebody at work about it, and I think if you read reviews online, they can be a bit mixed because people want more Daredevil. My attitude is that we're getting a 9-part story, and we're only up to episode 4. And part of that story is him not being Daredevil. So just, shut the fuck up and just let the story develop.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. But regardless of whether Daredevil's in it or not, and as far as I'm concerned, he is, because this is what I like about street level crime fighters. This is what I like about. That's why I love Daredevil and I love Batman, because they are always Batman and they are always Daredevil. It doesn't matter whether they're wearing the costume or not. They are always those people. So just because Matt isn't wearing the costume, he's still fucking Daredevil, Like when he has sort of like those conversations with that dirty cop, and sort of like the cop's trying to threaten him, and he's just not having it.
Yeah.
And just think, that's Daredevil you're talking to. You're not talking to Matt Murdock at that point.
Yeah.
That's Daredevil. And I don't think, I think for fans of Daredevil, like for Daredevil fans, I think it's a really, really good show. I think it really is excellent. I think people watching it just because they want to see a superhero show are probably going to be a little disappointed. But people who really know the character, who are actual fans, I think will love it. But yeah, so all I wanted to say was that regardless of whether you're happy with him being in costume or not, every single episode has at least 1 or 2 scenes that are outstanding, like the one between Frank and Matt in the last episode.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks ago, you had one between Fisk and Matt, where they just like sat in a diner, sat across from each other, having that really intense conversation. It's fucking awesome. It really is. But but I will say something. I don't know whether this will encourage Scott to watch it sooner rather than later. But my favourite bit out of this episode was obviously the scene between Punisher and Daredevil, between Matt and Frank. And Frank's having a bit of a dig at Matt about Foggy. And Frank comes in a little closer and his voice drops. He says, "You can hear him, can't you? You hear him talking to you." He says, you can't stop hearing the voices." He said, that's you're just like me. He says, "I hear them all the time. I hear my son. He talks to me. all the time. He says to me, "Get them, Daddy. Get them all." And I thought, fuck me. Oh, that was such a good line. And it was delivered so perfectly because he's he leaned in and he dropped his voice and he was being deadly serious. And he says, "I hear my son all the time." And nobody expected him to say, "Get him, Daddy."
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah. Oh, that's such a good line. What a good
I
scene.
just think it's a really good build up. We're getting it's like you have your first part of the story, then you get I was telling Scott, I mean, the guy kept saying, "Oh yeah, this is going to be action, more violent, whatever than Netflix," and I'm thinking, no, it's exactly the same as Netflix, except actually Netflix had more kicking and stuff almost every episode than this one.
I'd say so. Yeah, there was more violence in Netflix, but not necessarily a better story. But there was just more action.
I just like that they're developing. He doesn't want to be Daredevil. He wants to give that, but you can see him coming to realize this is who I am. It's like Frank said, this is who you are. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fight it all you want, but this is who you are. So,
I think he needed to hear that. Yeah, that's like Frank said. He said you've come here to ask for permission.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. Yeah, and then the scene where he's sat talking to that guy that he's representing, who stole the Palmer corn or whatever.
The black guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
In prison,
and he gives him that speech about how difficult it is about his benefits and all this, that, and the other. It's and that sort of like makes him think as well, sort of like this isn't right. It's not justice.
Yeah.
A few points that I've been following about it. John Berthenol originally turned down their version of the Punisher. He didn't like what they were doing with it, and when they came to him the second time, he said I'm trying to get the exact quote or a decent paraphrase. He said he didn't like where the character was going and what they were having him do, and it didn't feel like Punisher to him. But now they came back, and I'd heard some before. They weren't even going to have Foggy and Karen Page in the original series, and they kind of changed. And that part of it was that he didn't like the representation that the Punisher is going to be. He didn't think the fans would buy it. That's his line. He didn't think the fans would buy that version of the Punisher. But actually, there's going to be a Punisher spinoff on Disney. Actually, speaking of the Netflix one, they said that viewership of the Netflix series is up 185% since this new one began. So I think it's been good on a couple of levels where this is good enough that people are like, I never watched that original series and now I want to watch it. So that's been good. The thing with the Punisher, and you had mentioned earlier with police officers, I don't know. I've seen a few. I remember seeing a few quotes online from cops that have said that character represented to them guys and gals who are never going to face a justice system. They're too connected, and it's just never going to happen. And I think they've gotten, in some cases, there's bad apples in every cart. In some cases, they've gotten a bad rap as just, they think it's just a violent character, but many of them look at it as, they go through courts and then they sit in courtrooms and they go through cases, and there are certain folks that just never face justice. And he is that almost a fantasy situation of, you know what? No one gets away from the Punisher. You can buy your way out. You can scare witnesses. You can buy politicians, whatever, but you can't buy the Punisher. And when I see folks, and it's generally just, he's this bad guy that and a bad influence, and obviously with Marvel they've seen he's a bad influence. They've retconned and completely wiped the character out. I think it's gotten kind of a bad rap, which is unfortunate. And in the latest Ultimates, actually, I think I mentioned it briefly on the show last week. In the Ultimates timeline, the Red Skull had appropriated the Punisher's emblem, the old school emblem that they got rid of in Marvel. And Dennis Camp's a fantastic writer. I've enjoyed his work on the Ultimates, but I was like, that's horseshit. It really is. It's just not. It's not what that character has represented to millions of people over the years. So anyway, it is what it is.
Well, it's usually the people that bitch have no idea. There's a guy who just kills a bunch of people.
Yeah. But
no clue.
It's where we're at. But I mean, I've heard nothing but good stuff about Daredevil. So I'm actually, I mentioned to John, I don't know that I mentioned out here at the store, we're purchasing a new TV, and one of the first things Susan's getting is Disney Plus. So I'm going to be digging into all those series that I've been missing.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, you've got something to look forward to. Yeah, you did mention on the last show something like was it 72-inch TV or something?
75-inch is going to be delivered on March the 28th and installed on April the 2nd. And then I'm never leaving the house again. So.
No, why would you? You don't need to. 75-inch, that's awesome. Was it an OLED screen, was it?
What's that?
Was it an OLED screen?
What's that?
OLED.
No. Yeah,
it's a Samsung Crystal. Our son is a manager at the Brick. Anyway, he knows technology, and he said, get this kind of TV. It's a Samsung Crystal something. Anyway, I don't know much. I'd get you the stats and send them to you, but I guess it's a good quality for what we want. And it's the ability. We're getting a Blu-ray player with it too, because there's some movies I want that I just can't find anywhere else, and I'm going to start my little Blu-ray collection before everything's been corrected, so to speak. If you listen to the last one when I was talking about Mississippi Burning, Gene Hackman, and No Way Out, I was like, they're going to change that stuff. It's just what we're going to do, and I would like to have some of that. And there's older movies too, so.
Yeah. They'll either change it or delist it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on to the news then. Talk about shit like that, Mr. News Hound. Hound of the news.
Boy, oh boy. Hold on here, let me... I saw this earlier and I was thinking I'll save it a little later. Section 31 is going to be on 4K UHD Blu-ray this April. It's dropping April the 29th, folks. So make sure you have your money from the paycheck to get that thing. It has an hour of commentary extra. It's going to cost $30.89. And I think we should all buy it just for the commentary and then review the commentary because there's an hour of it. And I was like, okay. But you know what? It's amazing how fast that disappeared. It's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen such a hyped product disappear so quickly.
Yeah, but, it dropped off a cliff. Nobody was talking about it pretty much immediately after it came out.
Yeah, it disappeared quite quickly.
Yeah, it's like, Section 31's been released, and then that was it.
Yeah, it was gone.
Let us never speak of this again.
But anyone who loved it and adored it, it's coming out April the 29th on 4K UHD Blu-ray. So go get them, kids.
I'm sure there'll be some people
the commentary, to be fair.
The commentary, bloopers. There's actually a blooper reel, and I was sitting there saying to myself, the entire fucking movie's a blooper reel.
Exactly. Well, I imagine the commentary is just somebody apologising for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about that. I'm really sorry that you said that. I'm really sorry that we didn't write a personality for that character. So I'm sorry.
It's amazing. She was coming. That's another thing that was mind-boggling to me. She was coming off that Academy Award for everything, something at once. And people, I guarantee you, the folks at Paramount were like, "What happened? What happened? She's an Academy Award-winning actress. Why wasn't this a massive hit?" I mean, there were absolutely conversations like that where they were like, "I don't understand what happened," but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer is rebooting. I don't know whether you guys have read about that or how much detail you've read about it.
Just know that Sarah Michelle Gellar's interested in it now.
Well, it's going to focus. It's kind of brief storyline. It's focusing on a young girl named Nova that Buffy is going to mentor. And I don't know whether this is going to be a success or not. I read the Boom Studios, and it just wasn't very good. and I don't know whether this is going to be who they can get back. I mean, I'm sure James Marsters will be back and a few others, but I don't know. What's your thoughts on it, guys? Whether you think it's going to be a success or if it's going to be a one-season blip and kind of fall off the market?
Oh, that's nothing to... it's nice that they want to try and do it again, but I don't think I'm really interested in it because I've got... what was it? Is it Disney? Yeah, Disney has... when you pull up, it has stuff that's trending.
Yeah.
And Buffy was back up there again. It was trending, the original. So, I don't know. Maybe watch it if I can get a hold of it to see what it's like. But I think I was thinking about this when Paul was talking about the new Spider-Man cartoon. And how people were complaining about the characters and how they had changed some and some were gay or something, whatever shit that was. And I didn't get really upset about it because it all comes down to me is that I have the original. There's nothing can change. The original was on for 7 years. I have the original Spider-Man. I have that. So it's like, do whatever you want. I don't care. They've made the good one, right? So I've always got that one. And I got what I needed. I got the one originally. So with the rest of the stuff, if you want to make them, spider tits or whatever, go ahead. I don't have to watch it. That's for somebody else. I've got mine. But that same theory comes back to the Fantastic Four or something else. Is that if you give me just one good movie of the original show, of the original content, one good one, where I can go back and watch it again, and I get my Fantastic Four or whatever. After that, do whatever the fuck you want, because I've got mine, right? So as for Buffy, I'll check it, but I don't really care if it stays or go. I don't.
Yeah.
So
they're missing Joss Whedon. I mean, I've called him Baltimore because you can't mention his name, but
Josh Whedon.
Without Joss Whedon, I don't think it goes very far. I mean, and someone brought that up in another video I was watching. Season 6, which is arguably one of the best seasons of Buffy, where she comes back from the dead. Mm-hmm. She wanted nothing to do with that. It was Joss who wanted it. Sarah Michelle Gellar hated it, and it was arguably one of the best seasons. And that was his vision. And we've seen it with a couple of dozen properties where folks will take a visionary and just try and put their own actors and ideas into it, and it never turns out well. Mm-hmm. And there's dozens of examples by this point in time what's happened over the last 10 years. And I think when people get a hold of it, you're going to have the haters. They're just going to hate in general, but there's going to be the fans that are going to say, wait a minute, this is not what Spike used to be. This is not what I don't know whether Giles is going to come back or not, because if Buffy's a mentor, where's his spot really?
He's retired.
He's retired. So there's a lot of characters, and my understanding is I didn't know this until I did a bit of research on this, that when they did the 20th anniversary of they did a photo shoot for EW. Mm-hmm. Sarah Michelle Gellar and David Boreanaz didn't want Xander, the actor who plays Xander, anywhere near. That's why he wasn't there.
Oh.
Yeah. It was there's some not bad blood, but he was like, because he's done a lot of shit. I mean, my understanding he's cleaned his act up, but it was some rough stuff. Mm. And as far as David Boreanaz, he wished everyone the best of luck. And as I said, he's had a successful career after Buffy. Most of them haven't. Allison Hannigan went on to How I Met Your Father, I think it was called.
How I Banged Your Mother.
Yeah, How I Banged Your Mother. But she's not doing anything now. I can see her coming back, but I would say close to probably 50% of the cast aren't going to be in it. If they can pick up new. If it's all new. But I mean, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, it's all cameos and stuff.
Yeah, especially over the last 10 years. There's going to be a slant there, and even the folks who watched it before are going to be like, you can't go home again, and they'll watch the season or two, but they'll tune out. That's just the way they go.
Yeah. No, I have fun. I'll go back and watch Buffy and the original.
I got a bunch of nudes here. Do you guys have anything?
I just some highlights I clicked on. I don't know if you guys watch American Dad. I started picking it up again after.
Read about that, yeah.
Where I just needed something on, and so I was watching all the series, and then apparently just like it's like sort of like Family Guy, American Dad's going back to Fox. It's leaving TBS where it's been for a year. TBS decided not to do any more shows, so the way the story read is that Fox has picked it up right away, and they're going to start doing new episodes on Fox. So,
I bet Patrick Stewart's going to be in it, and that's the reason they're doing it.
Yeah,
he said, "I'm 84 and I want to be a naughty boy again."
Yeah, but that show's been a lot. Like once it moved, I didn't really watch a lot when it was first on because I didn't really get it. Then my son said, let's check it out." So I watched it, and it had some really good shows. And then it's another one of those shows that just keep going along as you willing to pay for the Korean animation and the actors are paid, right? Yeah. So
I love the Patrick Stewart supercuts. I've never watched the show, but I laugh my ass off because he is a Royal Shakespeare Theatre actor, and he says some of the naughtiest, funniest stuff I've ever seen in my life. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And he said he's. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when he first started appearing on American Dad and saying all that shit, I was absolutely convinced it couldn't be him. There's no way Patrick Stewart will be saying any of that. And it turns out it is. It was and it is. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he's having a whale of a time.
I think I mentioned this before, but he said there was nothing funnier than doing those voiceovers and going on stage that night, and he'd be waiting in the wings to go on stage, and he'd be thinking all the naughty, funny things he said all day. He says, I giggle like a schoolgirl talking to other people about my dialogue from the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then you guys, I'm a big fan of The Big Bang Theory. I just love that show. It's funny and rancid, but that spin-off that they're trying to do.
Saw it.
The latest spin-off with the comic book guy.
Yeah. So, what was it? The name of the show? I hate that. Oh, fuck off, bleeding cool. You go to now. Every time you go to a page, it pops up and says, "Do you want to join or give or Ed? Don't." If you take the blocks off, that's how we make our money through ads. It was. I think
2 seconds. I'm just going to dash off for a moment. I'll be right back.
All right. Sure. I'll give it.
Sorry.
Oh, there it is. I'll highlight it. I'll mention when you come back. So, Stewart fails to save the universe, which I think is pretty. I like that title. I'm glad it's him. I love Stewart in the show.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If they're able to do a few cameos of the original cast here, I mean, it reminds me a bit of Joey when they did the Friends spinoff. If they can give it its own characters and they can give it its own, because he was kind of an under. And honestly, I hope he still owns a comic shop. Those scenes are so fun when early in the series, and I never watched the later years of it because once they get married and settle down, I found the dialogue wasn't as funny to me. I love the geek stuff when they're in the comic store, and I use that. I don't know whether I think we've discussed it. That line, "I will turn a hose on you." That stuff like that was just fucking comedy gold. But.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice. If they're going to do any character spin-off, that was a really good choice because he's not a main character, which is really fleshed out, and I think they can go someplace with the character.
Well, they got, him Kevin Sussman, that's the actor, and then Lorraine Lapkus, who plays his girlfriend, she's being back. And Brian Postman, he's that big guy, that sounds kind of tough, kind of slow. Yeah. He's a comedian. He's going to be back. And then the guy who played Barry Kripke, he's coming back.
Yeah. Kripke? Yeah. That's a good cast of characters to start with. I mean, sprinkle in a cameo every now and then from the folks from the original series, and you get 2 or 3 seasons easily out of that. It depends on the writing.
Yeah.
If they get some of the writers from the original series back for that first couple of seasons, it'll do okay.
The thing, I kind of hope it's shot the same way. Because the reason I bring that up is that they're doing with young Sheldon, they so this, now that you're back, the show that's going to be called, it's called Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. That's the name of the.
Oh right! Oh, I didn't even know that. I just knew that he was the like the star of it.
Yeah. So, but I was just saying that I hope it's filmed in front of a live audience again, because when they did George and Mindy's first marriage, it looks really.
I've not seen anything about that. I know they're making one.
Yeah, it's out. There's episodes in, but it doesn't have the same feel because it's not shot the same way.
Right.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's like canned laughter. Like there's no one there.
No, I don't. Did you ever see Young Sheldon? Because I don't think that was filmed in front of a studio audience either, was it?
No, but that was shot like a regular TV series. Like Malcolm in the Middle and stuff like that. So there's that difference. But you can tell a series that's filmed in front of a live audience, filmed on film, but then filmed on a set, but no one's there.
Yeah.
So they don't know if it's going to work because there's no reaction to it. They think it's funny, and so they add the laugh track to it. Okay, you have to laugh here. This is where we go. Just like the old series, right? So I hope I mean, they may not spend the money on it because it's these characters and it's a sequel, right? Or a continuation. They might not spend the money on that. But.
No, and it's not the best side characters out of the show.
Yeah.
It's very sort of tangential. It's a bit of a gamble making a show with Stuart in it, but.
Well, I like Stuart. I was just telling Scott I like the character.
Yeah.
So
I like him, but I'm not sure whether you can make a whole series out of it.
Yeah. So.
But
he could be Boba Fett.
He
could be Boba Fett.
Could be Boba Fett.
Perfect. That is a perfect thing where you take the cool guy that you don't see that much, you give him his own series, and it doesn't quite work out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a mixed blessing, that, isn't it? Yeah, you're the new Boba Fett.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And it's like, oh shit, I'm going to get cancelled.
Yeah.
And this one, I just gotta bring it. I don't know if Scott has it, but I just found it. The title, I didn't read a lot into it because I don't really care. But it's just Todd McFarlane is interested in buying Diamond Comics, the distributors.
Is he?
You mentioned that on Wednesday. I never really saw anything. Nothing came up in my news feeds about it. I mean, I think it'd be
it's
a good
hot
thing.
rumor, but
hot rumor.
Yeah, I just thought, why? You're just throwing money away.
It's just someone may have farted that out in a Reddit somewhere, and people said, "There's news," and just jumped on it. I mean, there's only a few. Like I have 3 or 4 places that I get my news from, and sometimes people just fart stuff out, and it's a slow news day. It becomes a story.
Yeah. So that was it. I don't know if my main thing is why
control, I guess. Maybe he'll release Spawn through there.
Well, they said the part. I did realize is then Image would go back to distributing through Diamond Comics, Diamond Distributors. Yeah. So, but
I don't know. You guys watch the Jason Bourne franchise? You've seen all the movies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The Jason Bourne franchise is up for sale as their contract with Universal is up. Now Universal What's that?
Basil.
No, actually, that's an interesting thing I was going to talk about. Universal may get the rights back, but the Robert Ludlum estate, which is who runs, the greedy relatives, I like to call it.
Yeah.
They've had taken meetings with Skydance, Apple, and Netflix, and I'm guessing the reason they're not taking them with Amazon because they're fucking idiots, as Barbara Broccoli said, and I'm sure that made it their way to the Ludlum estate, and that's why I don't think they're taking meetings with Amazon.
Amazon must have been interested because they did the Treadstone TV show, didn't they? Which was cancelled after one season.
After one season, and I'm sure that also played into it. But
oh yeah, no doubt, yeah.
It's I don't know. It's one of those things that they tried to, they were great series, and I liked when Jeremy Renner, he did a decent job, but it was funny. I remember watching that movie, and the first 45 minutes was really good when he's in the wilderness with a wolf and so forth, but then it just fell apart, and I don't think the franchise ever really recovered from it. But it's one of those things that I'm not sure if you can do that type of series anymore. The action hero is slowly winding down, and there's so much they're going to try and do with it, a la Blonde, that people are going to be like, fuck this isn't Jason Bourne, that they may run into. I would rather have it go to either Skydance, which isn't that Tom Cruise's company in some way? He's very tied into them because a lot of his productions have Skydance productions in it. But that's who I would prefer to have it go to. Definitely not Netflix. I don't think that's a Netflix show. But I guess there's a lot of those. Just when I was reading a couple of articles about it, I guess there's a lot of properties where the rights are coming up in the next couple of years. So I would see it again. I think Matt Damon's getting a little long in the tooth to be Jason Bourne, but if they could get someone who could bring some quality to it, it's not like Bond. He doesn't have to be an Englishman. They can bounce around a little bit. There's some wiggle room, but I love the series. They're great.
I really enjoy the Bourne films. The last one that they did, Jason Bourne film, called Jason Bourne. That wasn't the best one.
No.
I like the character. I like the films. I like the the way that they're made. I like the the way that they're edited together. They're very, very fast paced, aren't they? Very sort of. It's very well done. I really like them. Yeah, even the Jeremy Renner one, I enjoyed that one as well. I was really upset when they cancelled the Treadstone TV series because I thought it was actually pretty good.
I think I watched that, but
they just need to resurrect that really, because like you say, you don't need a star at that point. It doesn't need to be one particular person, because Treadstone's a program with numerous agents in it, so it could be anybody. It could be different people every week. That's if they were going to buy the rights to it, then I'd just do a Treadstone TV show rather than reboot Jason Bourne, because much like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think if you try to reboot Jason Bourne, then it's always going to be compared to the original films, which are all very, very good. And it's, you're kind of fighting a losing battle at that point, because it's very difficult to resurrect something after so long and make it at least as good, if not better, than the original show, the original movies.
Agreed.
So I wouldn't even bother.
Agreed. House of the Dragon started filming yesterday, on season 3. It's funny, I never thought I would see, especially when the original series was on, the Game of Thrones, there would be kind of that's nice. There wasn't a lot of habaloo about it, and that speaks volumes about the reaction to season 2. A lot of people were not happy with that entire season. They thought not David Tennant, Doctor Who himself, Matt Smith. They were very unhappy with Matt Smith. He was just an emo kid the entire fucking season, which is, was kind of like, there was a few flashes of brilliance, and there was some things I liked about it, but it's only going to be 8 episodes. And when I heard it was only going to be 8 episodes, I'm thinking, this is Game of Thrones. They must have a shit ton of money from all of the, not just the original series, but the merchandising sales. They've done video games. They've done, posters. They've done T-shirts. They must have a serious amount of money. And I remember not J.R. Tolkien.
The big fat guy with glasses.
Yeah, the fat guy won't finish his books, eh?
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin.
James Martin.
Yeah.
George Martin. Sorry.
George R. R. Martin.
Right,
said that he didn't understand why it wasn't a longer season, and they're doing 8 episodes this season, and I don't get it. I understand if it's a new product, you got to give us six episodes to see if it's going to hit the ground running. But this is an established. It's not like they're not going to, it's not like people are going to say, oh my God, I'm not sitting down for 10 episodes of Game of Thrones. This is just garbage. And when I heard it was 8, I'm thinking, what are you guys doing? But I mean, it's just one of the things, but they're in an uphill battle coming into it because that last season was probably the most ill-received season of any Game of Thrones. They have another one coming out too. It's based on a comic book, actually. George R. R. Martin. It was, The First Night or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? It was a comic. I have the series actually. It's pretty good, but I don't know. It's weird. They're in kind of a defensive position with this new season that I never thought I'd see that with Game of Thrones. But
I stopped watching it. So
people still haven't forgiven him for the final season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
which is fucking insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
That story. Those two rushed through that season to do a Star Wars project that never came to fruition. It was just fucking insane.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
Tarnish the legacy for the rest of the careers now.
Yeah.
It fucked up the finale of Game of Thrones, and
Yeah.
it even make anything better afterwards.
No, and I think that's why George R. R. Martin, I don't think he's ever going to finish that book because, or at least until they get the stink of that 8th season, which wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it could have been so much better. Could have been so much better. I'm just looking at time. If we snip now, we can probably get the other show in before I got to head out. You want to do that?
No, you know what? I'm falling asleep here part time. So not that you guys are boring. I'm just like, fuck. I think I'm only good for one show.
Okay, fair enough.
It is early. Yeah, it is early in the morning for you guys.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to, but I'm kind of just when you peek up. Okay, but I'm just being honest with you guys. Like it's,
Okay,
that's all right.
So,
so do you want me to keep going?
Just keep going. We'll make it a 2-hour one and whatever, and people can either listen or not. They'll decide.
So, do you guys have anything else, or I got a bunch of stuff.
No, you keep going. Like you're the news guy. You find a bunch of stuff that's interesting, and we just chuckle in like the two guys in the Muppet Show up in the balcony.
So this is comic related, actually. It's the top 50 comics of February 2025. So the last month, this is where the industry's at. I can tell John's looking forward to his mouth is agape.
He's making me proud.
Yeah.
It's not past 2 in the afternoon here.
Yeah.
So the 6 of the top, and John, you and I mentioned this at the shop a little bit. 6 of the top 7 titles were the alternative universes, whether it be the Ultimate Universe or the Absolute Universe for DC, which is very telling of what folks are willing to give a look at this point in time. Transformers was at number 9, and I've heard nothing but good stuff about that series.
Oh yeah, they violented it up a little bit. They did.
Is that what it is? Because I don't know who's writing it, but each month you see that being talked about the most. DC.
All I know is from the very first issue I picked up, one of the Transformers stepped on a human being and squished him. And I thought, there we go. That's how you update and make things relevant. Kill things so there's blood all over the place, and then people go, yay.
Yeah, that's something they never really did, eh?
Yeah. No, it was a kid's cartoon.
Yeah, it was a kid's cartoon.
So now they've decided, the kids are growing up, now we can show blood.
Well, is that number 9? So people are buying it. Poor DC Comics. Of the top 50, 10 of them were DC. That's 1 in 5. the only 3 in the top 25 of DC Comics. That's
in the top 25.
3 in the top 25. Batman, there was a Zartana, one of 6, and something else, and the rest of them were just not there. So
shit.
that's very telling. That's very telling about DC. That
really
that $4.99 price tag is here to stay. Only 3 comics in the top 25 came in at $3.99.
Well,
So
you said that, but let's see what happens after tariffs.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if they'll lower them, but $4.99.
Oh God, no, they won't lower them.
Yeah, they actually used to tell you, hey, comics are going to $2.99, comics are going to $3.99. They don't even say it anymore. They just have special issues where they put them at $4.99, and then they start putting them all at $4.99.
The special issues now are $6.99.
$7.99. There was a couple of issues that were $9.99. There was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was in 30th place, I think, and it was $9.99. And of course, The World Under Doom, that's at $5.99.
Yeah.
Anything like an anniversary issue, they usually put at $7.99 now. Like they're up there. They're up there. But it was interesting to see I hadn't looked at those type of lists for quite a while, and it's really amazing how they've changed. As I said, DC. I looked at the top 100, and they're between 50 and 100. The Marvels, there's folks that are always going to buy Uncanny X-Men. They're always going to buy Amazing Spider-Man. That's just how Fantastic Four, Thor, Iron Man, and they're in there. But they're really paying attention to these alternative universes, and I'm not sure how that bodes for any cinematic. I would love for them to do alternative cinematic universes for Marvel and DC, just to give people a little change of what. Because I bought the first issue of Absolute Superman. I fucking loved it. It was fantastic. It was Jason Aaron. I mean, Paul, you remember he did that 12-issue series with the Punisher. And it was we didn't like the end result. I didn't like the end result, but it was well written. And also Absolute Superman, he's working on that, and I ordered the first issue, and it's out to 5 now. And during the sale, for new comic book day or free comic book day, I'm going to buy the next 5 because I thought it was just fantastic. But yeah, I mean, as far as comics, there's almost like a schism taking place in the industry where there's activist writers and then there's the solid hands. And you can Lee and I were talking about this at the shop where he said where I said, you know what, he said, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. You're having the movie properties, they're getting, I would call them activist writers, because it's just, you can tell from they don't have a strong history with the comics, and they're kind of bringing their own take to both the characters and the storylines as far as, and they're most times they're kind of heavily politically bent. Like I read Iron Man, a guy named Spencer Ackerman, I think his name is, and I like to research who's writing the books. And when I look at them now, it's always, there's definitely activism in all of their backgrounds for all the X titles that are now, and a few other ones. And then you've got Hickman, you've got Ryan North, you've got J. Michael. I'm going to destroy his last name. J. Michael
Vincent.
Yeah, Grabowski. You've got Ben Piercy. Then you've got these solid hands of Zaladan Ahmad, who's doing Daredevil and Wolverine, that are just fantastic. So if you know what to look for and you do a bit of research, you can eat pretty good at Marvel right now. So I've been enjoying it for the most part. But yeah, that was the top 50 of February 2025.
I was looking through the books that I have to read and ones I put away, and I made a decision: no more picking up anything unless I'm gonna read it. Yeah. I just can't pick up books and then have them sit there, and then I get so far behind that I don't want to read them anymore. And so, there's just books I'm not gonna. I think about maybe only getting the stuff I'm picking up that I've actually got on my pull instead of picking something off the stand.
I used to be a completionist. If it was X-Men, I had to get all the X-Men. I don't think that way anymore.
If I freeze up,
that's it.
You froze up. Or it does it when I freeze.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah. What else you got? I don't really have.
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, Kevin Smith is going to write Fantastic Four or Spider-Man.
Is he?
Yeah, that's what it says here. So.
Comic?
Yeah.
I knew they're doing a Fantastic Four fanfare. Speaking of Ryan North, who's writing Fantastic Four, that One World Under Doom, that 8-issue limited series he's doing, is fantastic. It's so well written. He's such a intelligent guy, and I love what they're doing with this. And I spoke with Lee about this at the shop. They had Blood Hunt, and they had another one with the Eternals the year before, and both of them were kind of underwhelming. But this series about Doom taking over the world, and it's loosely based on the gentleman in the president's chair in the South, in the U.S. now. But he looks at it very balanced. Okay, how did this happen? Why did it happen? And it's not Doom just coming in with, guns and taking over the world. It's a very calculated manipulation, and Ryan North's able to bring that into the storyline. So it's almost a psychological and cerebral story too, which is just great. You rarely see that in comics, and I've been really enjoying that. So if you are looking to pick up a series as the big event for the year, highly recommend it. The first 2 issues have been just fantastic.
Sounds quite interesting, actually.
Yeah. It is really good. I was surprised. I've been reading. It's out to issue 30, and his run on the Fantastic Four. He's an incredibly brilliant guy. I learned something every issue, and it's scientific based, and it's like it's a fun time learning about science because it's in a comic book. So,
I was just thinking, you're talking about it's gonna be really hard to find some of this new stuff. Because the one thing about what Diamond did is you see all this small independent books that are out there.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of I was looking for when I was doing stuff. But I don't know about you, but now you have to basically go on, for us, the Comic Fever website, go through each publisher and see if there's anything coming out. And I really don't care to do that. So I can see my readership going down simply because I have no access to all the different stuffs out there.
I have a book called I each week I go in, I Google new comics this week, and there's a site, and I can send it to you, and they list by picture every comic being released that week, which I love, and they're usually ahead of the weeks too. So when I go to it, I can usually skip ahead to 2 weeks and see what's coming out. And I do that every Monday. That's the thing I do when I go into work. I bring up this site, and then I click off all the comics that I'm going to buy. And when you click on, they have it set up so when you click on the title page, it gives you a brief synopsis of the story and everyone involved with it. It's real well done. I can't remember the name of the site right now, but I can send it to you. I think it's Den of Geeks. I may be wrong on that.
That's still not going to do you really any good because Diamond would give you 2 months ahead, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you could read the story, it wasn't, because unless we know 2 months ahead, trying to get a book at Lee's place, he doesn't get everything. No, so if it's something on something small, I don't know it's coming up. 2 weeks on that site, let me know. It doesn't mean shit to me because he hasn't got it. He might not even get it, right?
And I talked to him on Wednesday, and he said that he gets like +8. He gets the accounts and then +8 for even the big storylines.
Yeah, but some of the stuff that I've gotten from him, he never would have got, no matter what.
No, the indie stuff he doesn't order near as much.
So
as he
that's where I'm getting a lot of my books from.
Yeah.
So I can see, my pull that's getting basically what it is now.
Yeah. I've noticed when you look at that page I was speaking about on Den of Geeks, when you look at the comics for each week, I would say easily 60% of them are variant covers. Variant covers, special editions. It's amazing. Like the first 4 rows are new comics, and probably the next 4 or 5 are just variants or special city specific ones like Comic-Con variants and stuff like that. That's what's kind of holding that industry up right now. It really is, and it's obvious each week when you look at it.
Well, you go into the shop, Paul. We go into the shop, and he's got 2 racks, and he's for new comics. Yeah. And in reality, he only needs 1, because at least one of those racks is nothing but ultimate. Like 6 or 7 different covers.
Yeah, covers. Yeah, it's just covers.
If
you took away the covers, it would just be 1 rack.
Yeah.
It would be about 25 issues a week. That's what's holding the industry up. If that variant industry ever crashes, it'll kill comics. It will kill it within a year. So
it's just, I hate to say it, I think the comics industry its days are numbered anyway. I mean, the increase in prices and I don't know, lack of variety. I mean, if you're just selling a lot of variant covers instead of creating new books, it's like.
Well, I was looking for a book.
How long have we got?
I was looking for a book in a series called X Manhunt. It's a 9-issue series. It's running through the X-Men books last month, and I was looking for Storm number 6 because I don't collect the series. And I went to this site, and I got it, and it showed how many downloads of this. There was 174,000 downloads of that issue. So that's $4.99 times 170,000. That's what they're losing. I mean, and it's more of I would say a progressive title, and that's the money they're losing, and that's where also they're losing a lot of money. It's very easy to scan these comics and put them on sites now, and it's a generational thing. Older farts like ourselves will buy it, but there's a generation that got music for free and they got movies for free, and now they're absolutely going to get the comics for free.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and then, like I said, I mean, like Paul, unless he finds something comes up or we tell him about it. I mean, how often, Paul, do you go looking for new books? It's just
I don't, to be honest. I make a note of all the recommendations that you guys make, but I mean, as you know, John, I don't have a local comic book store. It would be so easy, so much easier if I could just walk into a store and just browse, just go in there once a week, every Wednesday, and just go and look to see what the new books are coming out. Have a little look through, see if anything takes me fancy, see who the writers are that month. There's nothing like that, and even I know there's probably a small variety of online sites that you can use, but ever since Comixology got taken over by Amazon, that was where I went, and it was very much like the site that Scott was talking about. You could very easily go onto what was out this week, what was coming out next week, what was coming out the week after, and you could it had the thumbnail for each cover, and you could open it up, and it gives you a little brief synopsis of what was in the issue, and you could make a choice. You could reserve it, you could put it on your wish list so that it dropped into your basket when it came out, and life was just so much easier back then. But now I just can't be arsed. I just cannot be arsed because it's so hard to just browse. If I want to browse, it's like, for example, if I were to use Kindle to try to find comics, it's a fucking nightmare. It's not easy because they keep trying to push you towards Prime Reading or Prime or Kindle Unlimited or whatever it's called. They don't want you to go looking for something to buy. It's so hard. It's like I just can't be arsed anymore. It's just so hard.
Well, the other
it's great if someone makes a recommendation because you can just search on the name of the book and just go straight to it. But aside from that, you can't just easily browse anymore. So,
and in trying to browse for something new, right? I mean something that's coming ahead. Like I talked with Diamond. I mean, even like if you make it that way, and people like you already to begin with is just, you've made it already. You pissed me off because you made it so hard just to find certain books. Now you want me to go online and look 2 months ahead so I can find a book that I want. I got other shit to do. That's what I mean. Like unless they do something comes out, another pamphlet, another book, or they come up with something where I can look ahead. My readership will probably go down.
Yeah.
So, because
that's all I got for news. But I got a few podcasts that are like were very interesting to me. Katie Sackhoff's show.
Whack-off?
Either of you? Yeah, Katie Sackhoff. Have either of you listened to her podcast?
No.
No, actually, no.
Ron Moore was on there. He, of course, is the creator of Battlestar creator of the masterpiece. It was the reimagined Battlestar Galactica. It was a 90-minute interview, just fantastic. She's actually gotten very good at it. When I listened to a few of her early episodes, and she didn't know what the fuck she was doing, and she readily admitted it. But she's gotten much better at the Q&A session and having casual conversation with folks. And they talked about how he got Battlestar. I didn't know his history really well. I knew he did something with Trek, but he spent 10 years as a writer on Star Trek Next Generation. He had some really great stories about that time.
Yeah.
He had a really cool story about... You remember a couple of years ago they released some Star Wars test footage? With the stormtroopers in the city? You remember that? And they were in the rain and everything?
No, I don't.
I don't think I've seen that.
There is a fantastic story because he was one of the writers, and they had written, and this is just a teaser for it, they had written 48 to 50 scripts for George Lucas.
Wow.
And then he sold the company. And there's test footage out there. If you go on YouTube and you Google Star Wars test footage, he wanted to do a live-action TV program. And it was a fascinating story where he's telling about how he got a call from George Lucasfilms, and they sat down and they wrote out these scripts, and then it got canceled because it was sold like a year later. It's about 2 minutes of footage. I'm surprised you guys haven't heard about it before.
Oh, I got one to Star Wars Underworld test footage.
That's it. That's it.
Is that the one? Yeah.
That's the one. And take a look for a few minutes or a minute. It's only like 2 minutes long, I think.
No, I got 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, then it's longer than that. I couldn't remember how long it was.
Yeah.
But it's very well done.
Yeah.
And at the time, people were like, wow, and it just kind of disappeared. And he gives a background story of how it happened and why it disappeared. Talks about his early years. I didn't know the guy didn't. He was one credit away from graduating university. He just said, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. So he fucked off. Lucky he landed on his feet. He tells the story of how he got on TNG, and it was just very much one of those things that it was luck.
Yeah.
And he happened to be a talented writer, and they got a hold of one of his scripts, and then they wanted another script, and then he got tossed in there. But he talks a bit. I didn't know it was such a volatile, backstabby circumstances of the first couple of seasons of TNG, but he kind of goes into detail about that. It's very good. It's 90 minutes long. He also talks about God of War. He is going to serve as a showrunner on the new God of War series. And he says, I'm not a gamer. He said, so I have that working against me. It's a 90-minute interview. It's very good. Very informative. I learned a lot of new stuff about him I didn't know about before. Katie Sackhoff does a pretty good interviewing, actually. And
is there a lot of commercials in it?
No, not that I had. Not on the ones I listened to it on Spotify, and there wasn't hardly any at all. Okay. There's a companion piece to it that I haven't listened to yet, where the next week Trisha Heffler is back on the show talking about the stuff they talked about the week before, which I'm going to listen to today, actually. But yes, Ron Moore on Katie Sackhoff. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but it's good. It's a good interview. I enjoyed it. Did you ever listen to Bill Murray on Rogan there when I brought it up the last time?
No, I totally forgot.
No? Okay.
No, I didn't go away and listen to it. No, but I've heard one or two people talking about it. So it's made a bit of a splash. I'm still watching this Star Wars footage here. I like it.
It's pretty fucking good. Yeah.
So this was a show they were going to make.
They were going to make. If you're not going to listen, basically they had 48 scripts written. That's how far they were into it. George Lucas got people from all over the world, and Ron Moore was the representative from the U.S. They got him from Canada and overseas and Europe. and said, I want to do a live action Star Wars. And he wasn't even going to talk about it. And that's, he had baller money. So he said, I guess he did the same thing with the Clone Wars, where he just made it and said, okay, you know what? Do you want it or don't you want it? I don't want your notes. Just here's the fucking product. Do you want it or don't you want it? And that's what he was going to do with this. He was just going to make it and then shop it around to the networks. And yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like something I'd watch. It kind of looks a little bit like Blade Runner as well.
Yes. And that was brought up. And there's a conversation about Blade Runners because James Edward Olmos was in Blade Runner. And there's some very cool little tidbits about his connection to it. It's a great interview. It's about 90 minutes long. It's just chock block with really cool stories. He's a great storyteller, and that's usually a good sign of a good podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't believe we're not getting this Star Wars Underworld show.
You should watch the 10-minute. I remember watching that. I'm very surprised. I'm surprised we didn't. I didn't talk about it on the show because I remember watching it. It was like, God, 5-6 years ago now. It was quite a long time ago.
Dude, I don't remember last month sometimes, so I could have watched it. Right? So.
Yeah, I never even heard of it.
Wow.
I got a documentary here. I just actually finished watching it at work. It was on Netflix. It's called. You also Black Hawk Down, right?
Oh no,
Black Hawk Down. Yes.
You never saw Black Hawk Down?
No, not one of the books. Not something I really care to watch.
Okay. Well, it came out 15 years ago now, something like that,
Yeah.
or maybe
maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Well, this is called Surviving Black Hawk Down. It was produced by Ridley Scott Associates, and it was a more balanced. I remember when I was watching the movie, the folks in Somalia were basically just video game characters. It focused more on the U.S. side of it. And this documentary had interviews with U.S. military participants, some Delta Force, some Army Rangers who were on the ground. It also had interviews with the Somalian militia who were, I want to say Aladad, I think was the guy's name. They're basically, the country is in the middle of a civil war, and the UN peacekeepers are put in there, and the Americans were kind of like at the brunt of that. And just when you read between the lines, because every side has their own angle, but when you read it, you're like, what really kicked it off is they had 6 missions. 3 of them were bad intel, so a lot of civilians got killed. So, of course, they were literally, that's why in the movie, they're literally fighting a city because there was a lot of death. One of them, 72 people were killed. But it was fascinating to see the interviews with the militia members because when you read between the lines, this guy was using child soldiers. And as one of the soldiers said, he said, when you have someone shooting from the crowd and you can't tell who it is, you just know there's bullets whizzing by your head. Everyone's a combatant, and they were hiding in the crowds of people and shooting at these soldiers that are going by. But it's Ridley Scott, so he knows how to tell. Even though it's a documentary, he knows how to tell a compelling story. But I really enjoyed it. But again, at the end of the day, it was a logistics failure. If those 6 missions hadn't have really killed civilians, I don't think it ever would have happened. But the president at the time was able to whip up the people within the country to turn against these soldiers. And I think it was one of the last UN peacekeeping missions the Americans went on, because they literally, and Clinton was the president, they lit out. They were gone within like 24 hours after they got back to base, and they pulled out. And I think that was one of the last missions they ever went on. It's kind of happening now when you look at Israel and Palestine, it's the same type of thing happening with different groups of people. You can't, when you're fighting a war like that, innocents die. But it was great because it was very rounded compared to the original movie. I really enjoyed it. It's 3 parts and it's on Netflix. It came out just a couple of months ago, actually. But every side was scarred. Literally physical and emotional scars. They talk about the soldiers and how much you could tell the soldiers were like, the brass let us down really badly. They have one scene where they're going through the city and they're trying to get out of there, and they're using the convoy to drive through the city, and the soldiers, no more room because they have wounded in the convoys. So the soldiers are running alongside of these vehicles, using them as cover. The first gunshots go off, and the fucking vehicles take off and leave the soldiers there. And there's a member of Delta Force, and he's like, you could tell he's like, you motherfuckers. And I bet he wasn't in it. And he's like, they just left. They just left us open, surrounded by people who just wanted to kill us. And you could tell he was out now. But a lot of the military guys who were out of service now, they were like, they fucking just left us there to die, basically. It was very telling. What they didn't say. But it's very good. It's very good. I enjoyed it.
Wow. Okay. That's it.
You had enough. You've heard quite enough of this nonsense.
I was gonna say there was a thing on Bill Maher when he had a book coming out. Jiminy Glick was interviewing him.
Yeah.
And there was a part of the scene where Bill's going on and droning, and you look over at Jiminy Glick, and he's like this. And all I was thinking was, I need to put Jiminy Glick. That was my goal when we were talking. I was like, I want Jiminy Glick to just nod off in the middle of the interview.
I kept having a little look at him. I thought, he looks so tired. I'd be amazed if he doesn't shut his eyes before long.
I wanted him to Jiminy Glick like...
Yeah. Old man didn't get enough sleep. I'm the old man here, god damn it. I need my afternoon nap. So...
I was actually going to suggest... because Paul sometimes gets the hook. I was like, maybe we should start at 7 o'clock every week. But as this has gone on, I'm like, nah, 7 o'clock's a little too early.
Yeah.
I couldn't even, like, I have, yeah, okay. So I can't even talk. Okay, thanks, folks. That's the end of the show. It's not going to be a two-parter, unless you want to make it a two-parter and stop halfway through and save another time when you got to take a dump and you need something to help you push it through. And then you can listen to it then. That's good. We're all good. Thank you for coming.
Folks, it's been a pleasure to bring today's news to you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. What he said. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Take care. Have a good day, folks.
See you later.
Bye.
Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. Come again.
Why, you little?